Tell it. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So I grew up on an island called American Samoa. It's still called that. And ever since I was a wee lad, I was raised Catholic, and so somehow I ended up. You know how like some kids end up in like theater camp or music camp or whatever. I ended up in, for all intents and purposes, spiritual camp, and I guess it's my parents' way of like, oh, you got to meet some friends or something on the weekend. And so, yeah, that somehow snowballed into altar serving. And so I worked my way up the ranks. So I used to be the altar server that was just in the middle of the procession. Just in the middle. I'm nobody, right? I'm a boring piece of meat in the middle of this white gown sandwich. And year after year, I pined to be seen. I was being seen, but I wasn't being recognized, okay, in this procession. You know what I'm talking about?
There's a difference.
Yeah, I'm just wearing a uniform, right? I don't got no ranks. And eventually, through the graces of goodwill and Jesus Christ,
That's the only way you have to say his name.
Jesus Christ.
For this whole episode.
No, honestly, I think it's the earliest recollection I have of like where kindness and just being of service to any problem, right? Gave me the opportunity to elevate myself to a different position.
Whoa.
Yeah. So then I, at some point they're like, would you like to bear the cross? That's so funny to say that now. I'm like, yes, I would like to bear the cross. And so what that means is you're at the front of the line now and you're holding the cross and you're like, the gates open. There was no gates, but the proverbial gates open. Sunday mass is in session. Oh, hymns are humming, and you start the walk. You look back. You're the lead horse of this chariot. You're Rudolph. You're like, all right, let's.
Metaphors of this are great. Keep going,
let's
please.
go. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Hands gripped on the base of this scepter with Jesus Christ on the on the top, the crucifix. And I remember I used to have these questions of like, do I let my feet lead the way, or do I let the cross tilt forward a little bit so that it's like I'm presenting it to the audience? See, I was already thinking theatrically, bro.
You're like, Jesus, take the wheel.
Some Sundays it felt like that. I was like, Jesus, take the wheel. I'm being a faithful servant here. Anyway. 7 or so years later of doing that, I get asked to not just do like the regular Sunday ceremony stuff, but like whenever the bishop would have lead the sermon or the ceremony service. Yeah. And the bishop usually had 2 people flank, right? You had the person holding the bishop hat when he removes it. So you have to wear gloves, special gloves. Felt like Roger Rabbit. And
I'm glad you didn't say OJ.
well, the gloves did fit, so I did not acquit. And no, in fact, I didn't acquit. I kept going.
Yeah, you did.
Here's what I learned. When the bishop goes, the crossbearer is second to the person, at least in this situation, who had this like ball and chain type thing, and on the ball you put you burn incense in there. So you were working with live fire, baby. Yeah, that's dangerous. Rudolph don't got nothing on that. So I got to do that. So I was holding this little chain. I was wearing rings on my thumb, had a chain coming down. For those of you who are listening, not watching, came down. And I remember I used to like drop that like that villain in Kill Bill, like would light that up and like do this. And what was awesome about that and completely theatrical is if you bend the chain far enough forward and you came back, you can have that ball of incense come back and clink on the chain that's like slack. So it'd be like, foof, foof, ching, cling, foof, foof, ching, cling, foof, foof, ching, cling. Let's go! Foof, foof, ching, cling, Jesus Christ! So I was that guy. And eventually, I graduated through the graces of goodwill and Jesus Christ to a position where I got to hold the bishop's hat. And at that point, you're literally on the same level, sitting on the same level as the bishop in church, right? You are being recognized. You're not just being seen, right? Because the other altar servers, they're off in the pews on the ground level with the the audience, churchgoers. But this time, decade later doing this, I'm up there with the Bishop Quinn, rest in peace, holding that hat. And like, you need your hat, sir? Let's go. So I would always know like when mass was over and stuff. My name is Tasi. You can find me at Tasi Alabastro. We're going to switch it up here.
I'm Davied. You can find me everywhere at Active Poet.
And this is Our Time Job, a support.
A support. I was going to switch it up.
Go ahead.
Supporting podcast for working artists from working artists.
That's right.
And we're talking about spirituality today, which is really funny to hear Tasi talk about all that stuff. And going into us planning this, he was like, I don't know if I consider myself spiritual. How many years did you put in the church? What? I feel like you had a whole life before I knew you.
Like 13, I would say. You know what's interesting? I've never regaled that story in the way that I have now. So you are hearing it for the first time.
You're saying it for the first time.
I'm saying it for the first time in that way. Because I'd never.
What?
Yeah. Sam has never even heard it in that way.
She has now.
No, she will when this episode comes out. But it's funny is I'd never rehearsed that either. I was literally playing it.
I could tell. I could feel you living through that.
I was living through it, bro. It was present tense for me.
It was the chuckles through it that made it believable for me.
Yeah. So we're talking about at some point Sam and I were talking about writing a one-man play, right? And it's that thing of like I keep getting in my own way because I'm like, it's not that good. What am I going to talk about? Mm-hmm. She's like, talk about your life in Samoa. Like, what did you do? And that's one of the things. And I'm like, that would actually be kind of funny to like, you just imagine a stage door. Have you seen stage doors where it's just like the frame of the door that's on wheels, casters?
Oh, yeah.
You can move it wherever. I just love the idea that there's a stage door and then all you see is like the shadow of me pacing behind it. And like, I kick the door open and I'm on an old school telephone and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That's funny.
And like, how do you incorporate your life story on stage in a way that's that, right? And in this case, like that was a spiritual side, I suppose. And then I also went to like a Catholic high school. Like I went to Catholic school all my entire life. I went to an all boys school. Yeah.
I know you went to all boys school, but I didn't know it was a Catholic school.
Yeah.
You're forgetting details, my friend, when you're telling me these things.
Or purposely omitting.
Waiting for these right episodes to be like.
I guess. I was waiting for the right moment, I think. Yeah. I can't just unload the whole thing, I
like these podcasts because I feel like sometimes we forget about the details.
Yes.
But the fact that we like keep touching like our lives and our stories, like you'd be like, oh yeah, did I mention this? And I'm like, no, you didn't. And I'm learning and I love it. We can't be sitting around a campfire drinking Capri Sun and I'm like, by the way, Jesus Christ was in my life and this Capri Sun reminds me of the blood of Christ. If that's how it comes up, that's how it comes up.
I guess so.
Go ahead, Catholic school, your whole life.
Yeah, my whole life. And so when I went to SF State for my first and second year of college, and that's not Catholic at all, if I remember. So that was a bit of a like, I don't have to like. There's no ritual here, right? Because ever since I was a kid, every part of the academic world had some kind of spiritual ritual, right? So one day I'll tell you why I skipped first grade, but before that,
hey, go for it now. Go for it now.
No, I want to hear more of your stuff after.
No, this is interesting.
We'll save it.
We're gonna remind you of that before this.
Is
over. I got you.
School would always start with like a morning prayer, right? And then high school was kind of the same thing too, where our principal at some point was also the village's pastor. Yeah. So there was always that sense of like spirituality around. It was just a matter of how much did I involve myself in it. And now as an adult in my 40s and thinking about my arts practice, like how much of that is still there and how much of it influences the daily work. Right. And honestly, I think it's the most important thing is that faith that it's going to turn out okay as long as I continue working hard. and permission to talk to myself as if I was talking to someone else, like a higher power.
Yeah.
The higher self of me, right? Or like whatever that is. So problem solving, I think we talked about this, right? Like I'll either go to sleep. I'm a anxiety napper. But also, like, if I'm in the middle of something, people talk to themselves for a lot of reasons. They want to hear the problem out loud, or they're trying to, like, navigate through certain things. But when I do it, it's almost like I'm talking to in theater class, they're like, who are you talking to? Who's your audience? You're doing a monologue?
Yeah.
Who's that directed to? Because you could tell.
Yeah, totally.
So for me, it's always like, I'm directing it to, like, my God.
Yeah.
Whatever that is at that moment.
Yeah. I always love that. That's a great acting tip that Tasi just laid on to you. I got that same note when doing commercials.
Okay.
When it's like, oh, you have this speech like, you ever had a hard day? And, like, who are you talking to? Are you talking to a kid? Are you talking to a grandma?
Like your Gran Turismo?
Are you talking to, thank you.
Yeah.
Are you talking
I listened to that. I thought you were talking to me. I was like in my seat going, vroom,
I
vroom.
was imagining Tasi in his seat.
Yeah.
His chonies. But like the way you're imagining your audience will dictate how you were explaining it.
Oh, wow.
Talk to a third grader, way different than you would talk to your grandma. Way different than I'd talk to Tasi. I'd be like, hey, you got milk? I might joke around with Tasi. But yeah, spirituality with our craft. You just touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Funny. I'll give you a little story. That's the reason why I got this tattoo like on my neck. Because
how's that pronounced, by the way?
Maktub.
Maktub.
But of course, there's a lot of jokesters around us that will call me Maktub, or
really,
as Karen will say, "Oh, backwards, it's butt cam," and I'm like,
great. Why?
Great. Thanks for making my choices.
Why would you read it down?
Thanks for making my choices. Like me reconsider this, because I got it from the book The Alchemist.
Oh yeah.
And this means in Arabic, it's written or destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think a lot about my career.
Okay.
And like, you have to have a lot of faith.
Yeah.
Anything you do, it doesn't matter being an artist. I just think being an artist, you have to have a lot of faith, because unlike looking up the corporate ladder and seeing like, oh, I have this promotion and this promotion, it's like we can be exponential and we can also take little baby steps at our goal. And I wanted it somewhere where I couldn't see it, but I know it's there.
Oh wow!
So like
I'd always wondered. I don't know why I didn't ask. Maybe I was waiting for this episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, why did you place it there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the placement. I always liked that style of tattoo, just like down your neck, like vertically. But I just didn't know what I wanted until I wanted it.
By the way, off tangent, but I meant to tell you this some time ago. Your fade's looking real fresh.
Thank you. Shout out Suave Styles and shout out Jay Blends at Lifted Barbershop. They always got me looking.
Yo,
right.
it's so clean.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Good lines.
Those are also artists too. People who do hair.
Oh yeah.
Sheesh.
Absolutely.
Sheesh. That's also a loyal relationship.
That's a craft.
Did we talk about relationships in one of these episodes?
I mean, I think all our episodes have some form of relationship.
Man.
But yeah.
A man's relationship or a woman or a person's relationship with their barber, mandatory. My friend just moved to San Diego and he said the very first thing he did was try to find a cool barber. The very first thing.
You gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, they're real up close with implementations of death. Yeah.
Look what we did there.
Great.
Thank you.
Anyway, you're talking about the tattoo and
just spirituality.
It's faith.
Yeah, faith in this career. A lot of times I like to tell directors that I'm a vessel for their vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly believe with art, sometimes I'll be listening to my music and I'm like, how did I come up with that?
Yeah.
And I honestly think a lot of the times I'm not coming up with this.
It's coming. You're just a vessel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I'm in the studio and all I have to do is be there and be present for the
You're
moment.
just channeling.
And show up for it. And it will just come through me.
Mm-hmm.
And trusting that like I'm doing this and I'm serving something else. Maybe the higher version of myself is being like, I got you down.
Yeah.
Get it,
It's like hovering.
Yeah, he's like, wait till you hear this,
Yes.
So I like
that'd be a great. Oh my, that just gave me some rad visual of like an illustration of this part. You're automatized or something, and then the back of your mind is exposed, and there's a writer there. I'm sure that's already
that's cool.
a thing, but like
I
there's
mean,
a writer there thinking or like doing different things that you know.
It's a thing, but it hasn't been a thing from you. That the world has seen.
Like, what does that look like if I drew it?
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, and that got me inspired, because anytime someone's like, "Oh, I can't do something because it's already been done," I'm like, "Yes," but they haven't seen you do it.
Yeah. Your version.
It's like just because Jordan's played basketball and he was known as the greatest player, should no one else play basketball ever again? No.
Shaking my head here for those of you who are listening, not watching.
Yeah. Oh, I heard you shaking head.
It's my hair.
But I also think it's that thing of like representation matters.
Yeah.
Like people need to see someone who looks like them do it, and it could be worse, it could be better than the staple person doing it, but we all want to see it.
Yeah. If someone goes, "Oh, I got into it because I saw you and I thought I could do better," all right, go for it. Yeah, actually, did you know that's one of my guiding principles of curiosity in art? Is if I notice something artistic or seemingly artistic, and I catch myself saying, "Oh, I could do better than that," then I make it a focus to respect that other artist by going back home and trying to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, I think I would say like 15% of the art that I picked up has been because of that.
Nice.
So I don't say it anymore.
It
gets expensive trying to buy these new hobbies.
Straight up. But I also used to like hate on like music for a while. I'd be like, man, this rap sucks. But then I felt myself starting to become like I was morphing into a troll of like somebody who just critiques like the state of hip hop and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why don't I just be the solution and make the music that I think the community deserves?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the better solution than just hating and being like, oh, you listen to this person, well that person sucks, because
right.
Well then why don't you just create more of the solution?
Yeah. There was I don't know if this relates in any way, but I thought I'd share it with you. There was a radio interview with Lil Uzi
Vert.
Yeah. And I think this was before he kind of like blew up. And the host was this older host guy who was almost like coming at him in a very challenging way, because he was like, "Oh, well, you know what? You know, it's tradition. Like, why don't you freestyle here? It's not Sway. It's not Sway in the morning. Someone else." And it was like, "Yeah, I'll play some beats." And Little Uzi said, "As long as it's none of that old school stuff." And that made the host like, "What you mean?" Right? Like upset that he said that. He's like, it's almost like you're disrespecting.
Yeah.
But Little Uzi, like, he doubled down. He's like, it's not that I'm disrespecting. It's just that my style is my style. And, like, I want to do it on this. And if you do it with that music, you're going to disappoint your listeners and my fans. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, way to, like, stand your ground. And I guess what ended up happening later is it's true. Like, he blew up.
Yeah.
Right? And he continues to like
do well.
So
he's got the theme song for Blue Beetle. That's like in the
oh
trailer.
wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
but that's a beautiful way of like knowing thyself.
Mm-hmm,
you know, I feel like a lot of this people's spirituality is like it's through wanting to know, right? Themselves, who they are, where they're going, where they came from.
Yeah. Great questions.
Yeah. I feel like I learned a lot about myself when I went to that 10-day meditation retreat.
Yes.
Wild.
10-day monk.
10-day monk, Dav.
10-day monk, Dav. Yeah. So this meditation retreat, walk us through it. I think there's an interesting thing of like where I know a handful of artists that do not like to meditate.
Yeah.
And I haven't quite pried as like, why do you not like to meditate? Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, okay. And I have noticed that I have friends that they get scared.
I feel it
when they have to confront themselves.
I feel it.
And yeah, that fear is so strong.
I feel it, bro.
Oh, yeah, go on. So I remember when I first met you, I think were either embarking on this meditation and I was like, that's cool. Like I'd be interested in doing one of those. Mm-hmm. And so walk us through kind of that spiritual practice and like what it's done for you.
Yeah. I think when we first met, I just finished doing it because I started Red Ladder a year after I did it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe so. I think that was the trajectory. Or I just finished, whatever. Anyways, one of the beautiful things before going into this that I learned from there was, ever since we're a baby, we're like trying to perceive this outside world, like our vision's getting stronger, our senses are heightening, and we're trying to like, what's going on? Oh, this person's mom. Oh,
Yes.
that's a lamp. Oh, this is a podcast.
The world is huge.
Yeah, the world is huge.
Yeah.
But how much time do we actually spend checking in with ourselves and doing our internal inventory?
Yeah. No, we don't have the language for it.
We don't.
Yeah.
Or the skills.
The skills, the
Technique.
capacity.
Yeah, we definitely have the capacity, but we just don't make time for it.
We'd probably explode.
Maybe.
Trying to take the whole world in and our internal life in at the same time.
Yeah.
You probably would explode.
Yeah. So what happened to me in the time was I was going through a lot in my life. I just had like a lot of negative turmoil with me and my sister. She was currently like, kind of went on the deep end doing drugs. And then me and my mom were like battling because I was trying to help her. But I had all these other things going on. So I like left my mom's house to try to help my sister for like a month. A lot of turmoil happened with me and my sister where like, that's ruined our relationship because I was trying to help her. She was trying to help me. But also like through that, like, I just got to see a different side of her with like drug abuse and like took my money and then like all this stuff happened, manipulation, because she's a very smart person. So like you enhance that with all this creativity. Just
right. Yeah.
went wild. So anyways, I ended up getting away from that situation. I was on bad terms with my mom. So then I was living at my ex-girlfriend's house, who was my ex-girlfriend at the time. And I was just like struggling. I had no money to my name. I just had like a bag of my clothes. Like I had it at my mom's house, but the pride was getting the best of me.
Of course.
And then I was talking to my boy Chuck, who has gone on like 4 of these already. And he was like, I'm about to go back again. Do you want to come with me? And at the time I was at the lowest I've ever been in my life. And it's a free meditation retreat.
It's free?
It was free. The one I went to.
Wow.
It's free. They house you for 10 days, 11 days. They feed you. All they ask you to do is to follow their schedule and put away any electronics for the whole time you're there and stay silent the whole time.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? I got nothing to lose at this time. So my boy Chuck picked me up and we drove all the way to Kelseyville. That's the one we went to. But they're scattered all throughout the U.S. and I think the world, honestly.
When you say stay silent, do they mean just you can't interact with anyone else, or you literally should not open your mouth to make any sound?
Yeah. The teachers will approach you like when you have like group meditations, they'll call your name at the at sections and ask you like, how's it going for you, and like get you going. But the main reason why they don't want you talking is because us as human beings, we like to talk a lot. Hence all these podcasts popping up in the world.
We're trying to express.
And we have a bad habit of comparing.
Yes.
So if like, let's say day 3, you feel like through your meditation, you're levitating.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm having a hard time.
You're not there.
And I'm not there. And I'm listening to you. And I'm like, I must be a failure in my meditation because Tasi's over here levitating, talking to Buddha. And I'm like
hungry and growling.
Exactly. And I can't focus,
Yes.
So a big spirituality portion of it's based in Buddhist beliefs. And it's like, you'll trust your experience. Whatever's happening for you is right. Like, don't let anybody tell you a different truth that's like you're not experiencing.
Right.
Your
feelings are valid in that regards.
Exactly. And I really connected to that. So when you get there, they make you dinner and then they talk you through it and they let you know what's going on. You ask any questions, you set up your house, you lock away your electric devices because you're off the grid for like 10 days. And then they throw you in that first night with an hour meditation.
Wow.
And they guide you through how to meditate throughout the process because it's their style. It's called Vipassana. But every time you meditate in there, it's an hour. There's no warm-ups. There's no like, hey,
you just
10 minutes today, 15 minutes tomorrow.
An hour.
An hour sitting down. They have a lot of pillows and a lot of like blankets and stuff so you can get comfortable. But yeah, it's an hour every single time. And I've gone twice now. And you're usually meditating.
How long between each session did you take?
So I want to say there's like 6 sessions a day for like the group meditation, and there's like solo sessions in
Oh no,
your
I
room.
mean when you said you went twice to
Oh,
the
the
whole 10
retreat?
days, or
Yeah, the whole 10
No,
days.
yes, right, you did. So how long?
I went in 2016, and then I went in 2022. I went last year.
Oh, so like 4 year.
Yeah, 4 year
Okay.
difference. And yeah, it's difficult. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but
Oh.
probably the most rewarding.
On that second return, on the return,
Yeah.
what? Oh, this is so fascinating. What?
Please.
I guess what expectations or what was exciting for you? Because
Man.
you already knew what to expect.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like nothing was really gonna surprise you outside of what you might meditate about.
Yeah.
So
I think number one, I had PTSD as soon as I got into the place. I was like, God, this is so hard. I was like, all these people smiling, having no idea. And I was like, oh,
just
I
you
was-
wait.
I was like, yeah, I kept on, like, my girl was with me because she wanted to go for the first time because I've talked so highly about it. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh. And I was like, she's like, what's going on? I was like, you'll find out. I
Can
was
you
like,
tap out at any point?
You can. They don't tell you to they can't contain you, but
Yeah.
they encourage you to stay. Because I want to say to anybody, have no expectations if you're thinking about doing this, but I promise you, that 10th day when you could speak, you are so happy. Your cheekbones are flexing all day.
You
You're
might just start a
talking to people.
podcast.
No, like the 10th day.
Yeah.
Oh, the 10th day podcast. That'd be cool. But yeah, that day is great. And like, you feel like you've gone through something with everyone.
Yeah.
So it's like this whole like journey you're going through where you're alone, but you're not alone because
Yeah.
people are around you the whole time.
Solitude or not suffer in silence or solitude, but yeah, like communalness. To
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're waking up early in the morning to meditate, and like the food was fire at this place. It was all vegetarian and vegan. And like we watched these discords at the night from the guy who brought the technique over from India. His name's Goenka. And he would talk about what you're going through, and he was hilarious. He was cracking me up. So I was like,
He's worked on his routine.
yeah, between the videos and the food, like that saved me every day. I was like, I have something to
Oh
look
wow.
forward to.
Yeah.
But on the first time, like I'm gonna give you guys the honest truth. I tell everybody who wants to go, I was like, any way you can get through it, get through it. Meaning, if you need to go on a nature walk during your break, if you need to take a nap during your break or like meditation in your room, do that. I know they don't recommend that. I'm sorry, those out there who are like strict believers, but like it's hard. So for your first time, if you need to
Yeah.
get through it anyway, I say do
Well,
that.
and the fact that you went back is, I think, indicative of kind of what you received in the process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I needed to be there that first time. And the second time, I wanted to challenge myself.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question, what I got from it the second time was I was comparing my first experience and like the level of where I got to.
Mm-hmm.
And I was frustrated with myself that I wasn't getting there. So I was like, all right, what I can do is try to maximize how many hours a day I can meditate. And what I got to was 9 hours a day. I was meditating.
That's hardcore.
It was. But I was hella proud of myself after that because I was like, maybe I didn't get the results that I wanted to. Like,
9 hours?
yeah.
Okay, look, so when you said an hour, I'm like, bet. I'm in it. Like, I could do that.
9 hour a day. No, each time you sit is an hour.
Yeah.
And there's sessions throughout the day. That's all. You're just meditating.
Oh,
the whole
sessions. Okay, I see. Not just like 1 hour a day.
No, there's like a morning one that's like 2 hours, and there's breakfast, and then there's a group one at like 8 for another hour. Then there's like a break. Then there's like you can meditate in your room, or you can meditate in the temple area. And what I noticed early on, they split the men and women, so you're separate, and there's no like meditating together, whatever you kids want to call it.
Yeah.
And in different housings. But I noticed when my girlfriend was signing up that they put her in a tent outside, and everyone else was like housed, and she didn't want to be there. So I noticed early on, I think day 2, that like she was always in there early, like for the meditations. Like you can always meditate when you're supposed to meditate in your dorm in the group hall, and she was always in there. And I was like, I think, and I was smart about this, she was in there because she didn't want to be in a tent. So I found myself boosting up my meditation hours to be there in there with her. Not that we can communicate and anything, but just so she knew there was somebody else going through it with her.
Yeah, it didn't feel so alone.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I boosted up my meditation hours because I saw my girlfriend struggling to like.
But look
she
at you,
doesn't-
like also kind of sacrificing.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in there together.
Yeah.
I drove. I was like, I ain't leaving. I'm
Yeah.
going. I'm gonna see this through.
Yeah. What a great challenge, and you rose to it. Yeah. So that second time around, would you say that the knowing the expectations on the session and what you're capable of doing,
Mm-hmm.
where were ways that you, I guess, allowed yourself to just kind of accept whatever is going to be happening?
Yeah. After like day 4, when I was like upset with where I like couldn't get to, I was like, you know what, whatever. I'm like, I'm just gonna boost up what I can control, and that's what made it easier for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do any of those, I guess because that's all a lesson, right? Like every day is a lesson. Every hour of that time away is a lesson. The whole thing afterwards is a giant lesson that you then, I'm sure, spend time digesting even after.
Of course.
When you're back in kind of the noisy world. Are there things from that you now call a practice that you incorporate into your daily artistic life? Right? Like if you know that you're in a creative rut, I guess there's an example, you say, okay, I need to put myself away in silence, but also silence with others.
That's great. No, I have not applied as much as I'd like to. I think I got out of the way of myself a little bit. Because I remember the first time I came back, I wrote like 10 songs within like 2 weeks, and I dropped it, and I was like, I'm gonna take my music seriously. Like, why am I in the way of myself? Because when I was there and doing my internal inventory, I got access to like so many memories that like I haven't.
Internal inventory. Where did you pick that phrasing up?
Well, I just think of like, you know, I look at inventory, anything. What is inventory? It's like you're stacking products, you're stacking like items. And I think of all the stuff we carry with us. And then I think of like movies like Inside Out with like all the files and stuff. But like how many?
I think of The Matrix.
Or The Matrix. Yeah. With all those like shells coming through. But like, how many of that stuff is like untouched? Like things you learned in school that you haven't like accessed in a while? Like, is it still there or is it gone? You know, is it like fluffy now? That's like creative nonfiction in the way.
Can I still be an ultra server now?
Yeah. So it's like, I got to see a lot of memories. And like, there was one memory like I always go back to. And it was like, I remember it used to rain so much here in San Jose when I was little.
Oh my God.
And I had this like cool like image in my head of like, I remember looking at the like elementary school and it's like pouring down rain. And I was like,
what an imagery.
Yeah. I was like, it used to be like that all the time. And I used to like walk home from school to that. And I was like, I forgot about those rainy days.
Yeah.
And then I got access, something that made me happy. I think it was on the first time I did it, on the 5th day. You know, I was in this rut and everything. And something that made me really happy is I remember doing my first ever rap show, like professional one.
Ooh.
And it was a big fiasco where the lady who sent us tickets, like, didn't actually put us on the list. We weren't allowed to perform there because it was a 21 and up club, and we were like 19 and 18 at the time. My boy who I was performing with used a fake ID, couldn't get in. There was this whole fiasco, and my mom just like told the bouncers like, my son works so hard, he has all his friends, he's gonna perform in there.
Let's go, Mom.
Like, the bouncer was like, he can perform, and then he's got to leave right after.
Yeah.
And like, bet.
That's a good consolidation.
So we all got in, and I was performing like the 1.5 songs I had because we had a 3-song set, and he was gonna do a song, and we were gonna split a song.
Yeah.
And I remember rapping one of my songs off my first mixtape, and my best friend Grant being in the front row, rapping along with me.
Oh.
And I haven't accessed that memory in so long.
Yeah.
So like going through this hard thing and just remember that, I'm like, dang, that was a cool time. I was like, I'm my best friend, rehearse and rap like my raps with him.
Oh, what a great memory.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Grant.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember that name.
Yeah, Grant. And it was his birthday recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow that's in my
so
memory.
Crazy.
So when I not first met you, but there was a time later, I think you were already with Red Ladder Theater Company, where I think I just casually said, "It's your friend's birthday today, isn't it, Grant?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "What? How'd you?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. It just kind of came up, and
Things that stick with us.
the things that stick with us. Wild. Maybe that's that thing of spiritual practices that don't feel spiritual but are intuitive.
Yeah, like like you were telling me that you have some that you like didn't know were spiritual that you do, and you're like, oh, that's what that's called. I do that.
Yeah, I mean, did I already talk about that? Right, like I feel like I'm talking to I think I did just say that, right? Or I think I'm talking to myself, but really I think I'm directing it towards
Whatever God is to you.
yes, or whatever the higher power is in this moment, right? Like,
Would you not consider yourself Catholic anymore?
I wouldn't consider myself a practicing Catholic, meaning like I don't go to church anymore. And my parents are like, "When was the last time you went to church?"
And what's the answer?
I was like, "I go all the time in my mind." I
mean, the stage is my church.
Yeah. Well, I as much as I'd like to joke and say that, they would understand it. So I'm like, I want to use that joke, or they would get it, but they're like, ha ha ha, go to church.
There's something so spiritual about being on stage and performing in front of people. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you're communing, I think, and you're tapping into something outside of yourself. I think if you're doing it right.
Have you ever been in so much in that flow state, which is where I feel like it gets spiritual, where you are just like you feel like you're watching yourself?
Yeah, I would say recently, actually, when I did Every Brilliant Thing.
Oh, I can imagine.
Johnny Donahoe and Duncan McMillan. For those of you who don't know, it's a one-person performance piece in which the character is reliving their life through storytelling and about the self-harm that one of their parents had gone through. Mm-hmm. And ultimately it's like a sad story, but the character's really cognizant about looking for the silver lining in things. And I just remember, if you think about one person play, that's the whole show on your back, right? Or like in this case, I shared it with another actor named Dane Lentz, who offered the sign language interpretation of the show alongside me, which was really rad. But at some point you spend, you're 40 minutes into about an hour-long play, and you've just been hearing your own voice. And we talked about this in some other episode where like, you gotta be able to live with your voice. Yeah. And like not be judgmental about it. And I just remember like, oh wow, these people have been hearing my voice for however long. I guess I'm not unlike this podcast in some way, but in some cases, like I'm directing this voice at someone or like a direction at these people. And there's not like in a pastoral way, but I just like, I felt removed from my body for some second and just being like, wow, we are all in it right now. We are all invested in this story. Oh shoot, story, right? Get back in there. But that's that moment of super recent, right? Where it's like, this is unlike any feeling.
Yeah.
Because, just how everyone is seated to, if you are listening to this or watching and this theater this is the first time this particular theater, City Lights Theater Company, has ever done something outside of a proscenium seats. Meaning, second?
They did the Wolves.
Oh, that's right. Because it's kind of come out.
Yeah.
But this is the first time they've ever done theater in a round.
This is true.
And that was a wild adventure for that theater company. And, I had no real hand in that outside of like, yep, that's as diplomatic of a seating that you can have. This is great. But yeah, there's something about being in the middle of that and like how the lights are the same lights. Like there's no frills, right? You can see everybody and everybody can see you.
Yep.
and I think if I didn't have that sense of like spirituality and acceptance that I am a vessel, like we were talking about, that might have gone a different way. That might have like demolished my mental health in some other way. Yeah. Because I gave myself up to it at some point where it's like, it's less about like me learning these lines, because it's in there already. Mm-hmm. It's more about like, someone wrote this, someone cared deeply about this, and I, through that, also care deeply about the story. How do I remove myself from it and just be that vessel? And I think that takes a lot of like intuitive / like meditative practices to get to, right?
How do you tell the story in the most authentic way possible?
And involve people in it.
Yeah, or do justice to the story and to the audience member. You were great in that. We can keep talking about that. That play is such a beautiful play. And
Thanks for seeing it twice.
Of course.
That was
Man, I enjoyed it. And I love bringing people to that,
It was a big surprise, huh, when people laughed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a good practice. Like, and that's actually a great play to talk about a spiritual practice that I do, which is gratitude. Like, express gratitude. It's like all the brilliant things that happen in this world, and specific things like finishing ice cream that doesn't drip on you. It's like something like a brilliant thing like that.
Yep. The bottom of an ice cream cone where the chocolate and the vanilla ice cream is mixed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Great.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like practices I do that besides that are spiritual.
Yeah, I guess a question I have for you is like, when was the strongest you've ever felt, oh, this is just blind faith right now, like I just gotta trust, like I'm gonna come out of this a different person, not saying good or bad, but like a different person, and I'm just gonna trust in it? Because I think a lot of performers or artists come across that, right? Or like, oh, like someone wants to give me money for this, or someone wants to take me on a tour.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I've never left the country, or I've never left the state. Like, that's a big fear for some people. And that's, and rightly so. You're leaving your...
I would say the meditation retreat, probably that's the biggest one. But like, I remember when I first signed to my LA agent, she was very hesitant to sign me to say,
because you're in a different region.
Exactly. Okay. And she's had experience with Bay Area actors.
Okay. Fair.
That like you're not going to be as available as like my LA person. So
20 minutes away.
So I remember telling her and our boss at the time, being like, I really want to take this acting thing seriously, and I know I need to be flexible for it. And our boss, love her, because she was like, I already put in enough time where she understands I can do the work and like lead a workshop. And she was like, as long as you let me know as much in advance as you can,
you're of value.
Yeah. And I told the LA agent that like, yo, whenever you need me, I'll be there, and I could tell she was testing me sometimes. It'd be like, if you're not there, like, I'm going to call this quits,
She was finding a reason.
Yeah. And she would like test me. It'd be like I'd get a text or an email from her at 10 p.m. that like I got to be there in LA the next day at 2 p.m. And I was like, what? I was like, I got a couple hours to figure this out.
Yes.
And I just drive all the time. I took that blind faith and like,
wow.
But from that, man, I learned so much, and like I booked the Nickelodeon stuff, and like
snaps.
I did the thing in Korea.
Yeah.
I like did the Call of Duty commercial. There was like a lot that like I learned from that.
That was fun. I kind of experienced that through your photos.
Oh yeah.
The Elf and your Korea trip, your South Korea trip.
Yeah, it was fun. No, it was North Korea.
That's why I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you haven't seen it. No, that was fun. When it comes to spirituality too, like I was baptized, and I was like raised Catholic.
I was dunked as well.
We were dunked. It was a dunk tank for babies.
I had no choice in it. That's a whole other topic. I had no choice. I just got dunked.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ said, "What's up?"
Jesus Christ. But like I know my mom and my grandma even more are very spiritual, and they go to church all the time. My mom not as much, but she has like a prayer book by her bed that she always reads. But I feel like for myself, like I align more with the Buddhist philosophy, reincarnation, the energy you get.
Well, and there's different types, right? Too. Just for those of you who are out there watching, listening, who are interested in exploring that. There's a couple of different sects of it, I think.
Yeah. And my godbrother like studied theology, I believe it's called, and he used to like
study of religions
and used to travel, and he's like crazy person to talk to. Maybe we'll have him on here one day because he used to be an actor. And
no kidding.
Yeah, he used to be an actor, and then now he's just like lived in like a bunch of temples and like has traveled the world. He's crazy, but I love it. And crazy and like it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is like I think having my dad pass at a young age for me kind of left me feeling like upset with God.
Of course.
So I don't think I ever like wanted, like I found myself talking to him all the time, and like I know my dad prepped me, being like, "Yo, this is not goodbye. I got to do some stuff with the angels." You know, he like joke around like that. So like I at the funeral, my mom always says like, "Yo," she was like, I kept on going up to people like, "Don't cry, he's just an angel now." Like I used to like tell people that, and like I didn't understand it, but like, you know,
But that was his way of like giving you a tool.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think the anger really started happening as soon as I was like 13 or so, and I needed guidance, and I didn't have it, you know.
You were puberty.
Yeah, it's a puberty time, you know.
Yeah,
You're trying to get girls. You're trying to like establish dominance, and you're trying to like, you know, be somebody.
You don't know what your hormones are doing to your chemistry for sure. Yeah. You'd need another another older male who's gone through it to kind of say like what you're feeling is
Exactly
not unusual.
And that's why I think I get some envy sometimes when like, you know, you see these crazy baseball players or or like Steph Curry after he shoots a three, he always points up, and I'm like, you know, I wish I had a relationship or like that much faith in like, yo, it's all you. Or like something like that.
Right. It's okay. I think that thing of like I feel, and this is my opinion, you can't be 100% spiritual all the time. Meaning like that, where you just said, or like, I wish I had that. I think there are moments in life where it just seems so unreal to you that it's unfolding. Yeah. That you allow yourself to just say, that's way out of my like pay grade, and that's something.
I agree that there's something, you know, the universe, you know, called the energy. Maybe it's God. I don't know if it's a man up there or it's a woman, you know, like.
It's definitely a woman.
It's definitely, like, I believe that. But, like, I don't know. But, like, do I believe in higher powers? For sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I know there's something working on. And, like, it's crazy how much similarities we have to, like, the elements of the universe in us, or like our eyes. Oh my God, and stuff like that.
Dust.
Have you seen that when like people get cremated and they take a picture of that and it's like it looks like space?
I nerd out about that stuff.
We are stardust.
We are literally, yes. And transference of energy, like I believe in that. Like there is 100% things to be said about like you change your frequency, and that's what you start to attract that. It might take a little bit. It's not. I don't think a lot of these things are like instant, right? So get that out of your mind.
Yeah, it's a law of attraction, you know.
And I truly believe in that.
Agreed.
So I remember there was a time where I'm like, I would like to experience. I just said it out loud. I would like to experience what it's like to do back to back shows, because
and you did.
Yeah,
I
twice. Because I witnessed my. Like our friends do it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not comparing my skill with theirs in any way. I'm just saying like, at that time I thought, gosh, I'd like to get that kind of practice, or I'd like to know what that feels like. And I did. And I'm, which is great, because now I'm like, I don't like doing back to back shows.
I knew you wouldn't when you told me that, and I was like, I know you're ready for it, because you were asking for a challenge, and I totally imagine a cutaway to like whoever's up there being like, okay,
challenge accepted.
And just like sending it and like just waiting in time for it to come in, and it finally gets to you, and you're like,
it was Donkey Kong barrel rolling.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I was curiosity for a new challenge. Like, what's the new challenge?
I'm glad you got, and now you have that to know you don't like it.
Yeah, I don't particularly enjoy it.
And I think that's a very important thing when we're talking about curiosity, period, is just like give yourself the opportunity to like check things out, try things to see if you don't like it before you make an opinion.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, especially with music, when people tell me like, do you like this type of music? I'm like, I don't know. And like, I'm not going to hate on something from just listening to one thing. I'm like, does this person have an album? Let me listen to it and like maybe try to understand.
Yeah.
The energy in there is very like angsty. I get this energy. It reminds me of the why I like Green Day.
Got it. Yeah.
But like, does this connect to me? They're not talking about anything like I don't like, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, with religion, like, if you're interested in the meditation retreat, I'll put a link below for y'all to check it out. You know, it's all free.
I mean, I've already expressed interest in doing it. I think it's just a matter of like, oh, when do I do that? And like,
I know it's time. That's another factor against us. Before we end this episode, can we hear why you the first grade story? I forgot what you said about like why you didn't show up to first grade or something.
Yeah, I showed up bright and early. And
if y'all can't hear it, Tasi has a huge smile on his face right now.
It just always cracks me up because it's so silly and yet it's a core memory.
I love it.
Catholic school, St. Teresa Elementary School. mind you, my mom was up early every day, 4:30, to get coffee ready, to get my uniform pressed. Shout out mom. She didn't believe in like pressing it the night before for some reason. So I wore stuff that was like, this is right out of the toaster.
Mm-hmm. It's always still warm.
Oh, it's hot. And my dad would take me to school because it was on the way to his work, and he's the only one that drove. So out I pop out of this like Nissan pickup truck, and first day of school, he takes me. It's kind of like this roundabout drop-off area, and the way that this elementary school is kind of structured, think of it like Twix bars. You know how like
Sure.
they're kind of next to each other,
Yeah.
but they're staggered, right?
Okay,
So like
okay.
one Twix bar had grade 1 through 4, and then the other Twix bar had 5 to 8.
Oh no.
And there's like this giant kind of field between. It seemed giant because I was a kid.
No, keep going.
Anyway, he drops me off, and we're at one end of the Twix bar where 4th grade is. So I have to get to 1st grade. So that's on the complete opposite side.
Okay.
He points down. He goes, "Okay, son, your classroom is over there." My only assumption is they'd already seen this place before I even, of course, when they enrolled me. My dad had a lot of faith in me, I guess. And so I go, okay. So I take my backpack and my lunch pail, and I'm already like, because I'm having separation anxiety.
Of course.
Because, hey, guess what? I'm an introvert. Who
Yeah.
would have thunk? I didn't know.
Oh.
I'm walking there. I'm ambling. I got my slippers on, aka flip-flops, aka slides, whatever you want to call it here in the U.S.
This is
Flap,
great
flap, flap,
already.
flap, 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 flap. Making my way.
Little Tasi, I'm sorry. Keep going.
I either run out of patience or the bell has rung, and so I'm in this kind of pressure zone of like making a choice. So I'm walking, and I duck into. This is why you need to go 1st grade so you can learn how to count. So I go into the 2nd grade classroom. And I think I know why. I think because there's a bridge between that building and the building where the cafeteria and the admin was. And that bridge is separated right where the 2nd grade classroom and the 1st grade classroom are. So I think naturally my brain thought this is the end. So I duck into the 2nd grade classroom, and we're talking about spirituality. First day of class, or any first routine in class, set your bag down, put it in the cubby, sit down, morning prayer. I'd never experienced that, right? Even in kindergarten, we didn't do that. So there's something eerie to me as a kid with like kids humming or like saying the same thing, and they knew it and I didn't.
Oh yeah. So you feel out.
I felt like an outsider.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And so, and of course, the separation anxiety has kicked in real hard. So I'm like, I miss my dad, my parents, and my comforts. I start crying. It's that like slight lip quiver.
Yeah.
To straight up, I think like it's on my uniform. If you can see white shirt or like a white button shirt become dark, it's because it's wet.
Yeah.
It totally stops morning prayer. Already more reasons to cry. Oh no, I've caused this. Teacher comes around and she could not figure out why I'm crying, and I'm not able to communicate that. Mind you, English was my 2nd language at the time. And
Were they only speaking English there too?
well, there's Samoan, so they were speaking like a broken English. So it wasn't even like,
Got it.
yeah, it wasn't even clearly like, not proper English, but like, I didn't recognize it as much. Plus, it's hard to hear over your crying. Your ears clog up. They couldn't decide what to do with me. And at some point, the teacher goes, "Oh, you're actually not supposed to be in this classroom." So she moves me to the 1st grade classroom. And I get there and I sit, and they're in the middle of prayer. And I lose it. Like, you thought I was bad before. I'm like, I look like a wet cherry. Like again. Unconsolable, right? And the teacher there was she gets the principal, who was one of the sisters, like the nuns, I guess. They phone up my parents. Oh wait, no. What ended up happening was I'm crying. But this time I'm crying because I don't have my bag and my lunch pail.
Because
My belongings. Yes, they're still in the cubby. So I don't know what was going through my mind, but the teacher then takes me back to the second grade, sits me down, and I stop crying. I think because I'm reunited and I'm all cried out. I'm like,
Kids get there. You're all cried out.
Maybe this is where I'm supposed to belong after all.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and both the teachers, the first grade and the second grade teacher, are talking with the principal, and they're like, what I can imagine is like, he stopped crying. Call the parents. They phone my parents. They say, this is what happened. Your child is in the second grade. He stopped crying. Should we just leave him here? My mom, I think she called my mom, said, yeah. Without, like, to my knowledge, any hesitation.
Yeah.
No concerns. He stopped crying. Good. Leave him in there. He's fine.
Yeah.
Long story short, or shorter, they never went back to do any kind of like, you were supposed to be in this classroom. They just left me there, changed my grades. So since that day, I'd never taken first grade. And I've always, up until college, I always was in classrooms with people that were older than me.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's kind of wild, you know, to think about, like, do you need first grade? Like, surely I've forgotten something. So maybe this is that late bloomer thing we were talking about some time ago, where like, I'm playing catch up, maybe because I've always felt that I'm a year, like I don't deserve to be
younger.
Yeah.
That's crazy because I was always one of the youngest in my class.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For just because your birthday's on
in the fall.
in the fall, yeah.
Yeah.
So you turn while you're.
So yeah,
Yes.
I graduated 17, where most people were 18.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Whoa.
Wait. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're in the summer, fall,
Yeah.
fall.
August, so summer.
That's so funny, dude. I remember crying my first day too.
Did
I was
you?
like, yeah, of course.
Anybody else
Yeah.
out there listening,
Did you guys
watching?
cry?
Did you guys cry in first grade or like early education?
Before we, please let us know any of your spiritual journeys
Yes,
and stuff like that.
please.
We'd love to hear. Me and my girl have a joke.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last thing I'll say. Of like when we imagine having kids one day.
Yeah.
And as you know, my girl's very like confrontational.
Yep.
And I'm very like jokey about like a lot of my stuff. So we have a joke about like when our kids get in trouble, we get phone calls. It's like,
How you
what'd
gonna
they
handle?
do?
Yeah.
What'd they do? Oh, that's your kid. What'd they do? Oh,
Oh, that's my kid. Yeah. Ownership. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did they make fun of somebody? All right, I'll take it.
All right, I got it.
Did they punch somebody? That's your kid.
Yeah.
You know?
What if they did both? What if they elbow dropped somebody and said,
Then we both
"Mah!"
show up. Then we both show
Okay.
up.
Team effort.
Yeah.
I love that.
But I am Davied Morales. You can find me everywhere at Active Poet.
And I am Tasi Alabastro. You can find me everywhere at Tasi Alabastro.
And this has been our podcast,
Art Time Job.
where we remind you to make time for your art.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dig up those memories, I
dig
guess.
up those memories, feel good about it, you know?
Yeah. Share it with someone.
Yeah, share it. Share it with us.
Yeah.
What do you like? What do you want to hear more of? Please, we'd love to hear anything.
Hey, we might even read it
Yeah.
if that's okay with you.
Can we read it?
That'd be great.
From who you are?
Yeah, you
too?
could even say anonymous.
Yeah, or you can say, hey, say my name, and
Yeah.
we might say your name.
Say my name, say.
Feel free to write in the comments, Jesus Christ!
I can't believe that's the same episode.
Yeah.
It's the same episode.
Jesus Christ!
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.